And record. Now I just gotta make sure the audio is working this time. Oh. Close. If you're here, say something. Okay, gotta switch the account. There we go. Is there any sound? There we go. There's sound! Is there any sound? There's sound! Hi, Art Journal of Rayas. Sorry, the last time I streamed there was no sound and I couldn't get it to work. It looks good. Everything works fine. Yeah, it does. Very excited. All right. Time to draw some hits. Yeah, I streamed both on. Oh, it's red. I streamed on TikTok and YouTube at the same time, and it was a genius idea, but I failed super hard, and the sound didn't work on YouTube, so that made me extremely sad. I gotta get used to drawing bigger, because people are gonna be watching this. I don't want to draw. A lot of times I draw my heads this size, so. Am I even zoomed in all the way? Okay, no. I draw heads this size. I suppose it's not bad, but it wouldn't hurt to have things a bit bigger. So I have my reference here. I always have this underneath. It's kind of like my base design reference, like my design aesthetic reference. The abs in the top left corner are basically instructions on how to design. The full piece of it, I can show it another time. The full piece of it shows a photo, and then the drawing as if you copied the photo, and then right here is the drawing as if it was designed by the photo, not a copy. And the designed one obviously looks very nice because they took steps to design the shapes. And then these are just the anime aesthetic, which I like, which we're studying off of. His chin is way too big. Did you do any drawing today? Should I call you Rayas? Or if I'm pronouncing that wrong, just let me know. We'll see. This is the first time I'm drawing today, so we'll see if you never know if it's a good or bad drawing day. Riaz. Okay. My bad. Riaz. Do you have a YouTube channel too? I feel like you do, just judging by your name. Yes. Well, I'll have to check it out after this. This nose might be too long. Document my art and animation growth. There. Oh, that's cool. Documenting your growth is a great way to grow and to show people what you're doing. Okay. Yeah, I definitely made the face a little big. So I like this realistic, stylized anime look. So a lot of times, like, this isn't exactly the style that I go for. It's kind of more what it looks like down here. The middle one probably will never make eyes that big, more like the left and right sides. So I do have to adjust things. Like I have some drawing, like this guy up here. This is from imagination. I was actually pretty proud of this one. But, the tiny chins, although you can still keep a small chin, but the super tiny chin, that's an anime thing. That's not generally something I do. So I gotta drop it in the realm of realism a little bit more. Same with the eyes. The eyes are usually really long. Width-wise, even though they're like thin and nice, they're usually pretty too long, and the pupils are usually really small. So manga Blue Period. Oh yeah, I loved Blue Period. I did not know about it until the anime came out. But yeah, it can be hard studying stuff like this because, if the eye is extra long, then it messes up with the distance from the eye to, the side of the face where the ear meets the jaw. So you sort of have to take into account those adjustments as you're studying. It's not something that I would recommend to beginners because it's confusing. Or it's not confusing, but, well, it can be. But you're actively designing as you are drawing. And it's just more complicated. It's not necessarily something for beginners. Something you should try, but it's definitely more complicated. Like, I can tell right now, which is frustrating and I really don't know how to fix it, is the face looks like it's turning slightly. It's probably just outside shapes that need to be fixed. I think we shall try. That's better. That ear might have been a little high, but we'll go with it for now. And I don't know why, but hair is something that I did not really practice for the longest time, so I am not good at hair. That looks looks funky. His eyebrows are fun. If you don't mind, can you give me some tips to get started on character designing initially? I struggle with beginning it, but once I get the hang of that character, I perform well. Yeah, of course. I'm trying to think the best way to do this. What's your process for starting to design a character? Like, what do you do? And then I can help you from there. Like, are you figuring out the story? Are you gathering reference? These eyebrows are funny. Okay, I'll figure that out later. I'll try to get the basic shape of his hair, which seems to be you might be typing out something, so I'll start with how I usually go about designing characters. It's not the same way every time, so it really kind of depends, but a lot of the times I start with reference, meaning I have a general idea in mind of, like, say, like, I'm going to be doing this, I'm trying to start doing this series more frequently called Concept Quest. I'll play a game and make a character. So the game that I'm playing now is Ollie Ollie World, which is like this indie skateboarding game. Not that I'm super into skateboarders or anything, it just is a really cute game. So I know that I'm designing a skateboarder. So I have a wealth of reference that I've collected over the years. And I have a character folder that I will very carefully go through and see if there's any kind of ideas that'll spark. If I don't know at all, like, sometimes I'll know what I want to do. Like, oh, I know I want this character to be holding an axe, and I know the vibe, like, I want a cyberpunk vibe or something. Sometimes I'll know, and I can look for that specific kind of reference and look for similar stuff, so it's easier to come up with a design. But sometimes I have no idea, so I will look through characters, I'll look through stuff to see what other people have designed before and see if it can spark an idea. And I actually have like a idea sparking folder too, just to try to do stuff. Yeah, no, that's okay. You're typing. I'll finish going through sort of what I do, and then I'll read yours and help you with your process. So yeah, I have a whole, I can make sure I don't show anything not safe for work. When you do figure drawing, like, you study naked people, so you gotta be careful doing stuff live. But yeah, I have a whole characters folder of character designs. So when I need inspiration of, like, what to look for, I will just open this folder and be like, I have a general sense, or I know very specifically what I want, and I'll go through and look for things that might be similar or just spark new ideas, like, oh, I like this, these strap boots or straps to the shoes look really cool, or you know, I like this skirt or this top or the hair, whatever. That'll start to inform me of some of my design choices, and I'll make a folder for that, for whatever character design I'm about to do. And then I'll draw from that reference first, just so I sort of know the kinds of clothes I'm drawing. And then once I inform my visual library of those things, then I will start to draw my own stuff and see what I can come up with, because it's a lot of exploration, character design. And it's fun even doing it as a beginner, because there is a lot to know, so it feels like as a beginner that you can't really explore character design, but you totally can. And in fact, I recommend it because it will help you in the long run. So yeah, I go from there. God, I'm so bad at hair. I will figure out hair at some point. Ugh. I'm just gonna pretend that this looks better than it does and be happy with it. Let's see, this probably has to come in a little bit. There we go. Looks a little bit. Oh god, his ears don't match up. Yeah, I knew this ear was too high. I knew it! Alright, let me take a look at what you said. I have the story in hand. I know the character in general. Then I proceed to design the character. First thing I look into is their background, where they come from. I work around that. Struggle in most of the beginning stages. Should I use more reference? I think using reference depends on your skill level, to be honest. I think it's always good to, just from a learning process, like to try, without gathering anything, try to like draw out what you think your character is going to be, because sometimes it can help inform you, but it also, from a learning standpoint, we know there's evidence that shows that if you try to design something, even if you get it wrong and then you learn the right way to do it, you actually learn better than if you didn't try in the first place. So it's always good to try, even if you may get it wrong. Not that your own designs are wrong, because you're the one who's creating the character. But hopefully you get what I mean. So yeah, the story is super important. I think that informs a lot of the design, so you definitely have to think of that as you're going through the design process. Where do you get most of your references from? Mostly use Pinterest. I use Pinterest, but my secret is I use Weibo. It's like a Chinese Facebook, I think, is the comparison. Weibo, Weibo. I don't know if you need it anymore, but when I first got on there, you needed a Chinese phone number, and I somehow hacked my way through that. You may still need it. I don't actually know. I think there are ways, if you Google search how to do it, I'm sure you could come up with something. But yeah, Weibo has, I personally love the anime aesthetic, and obviously when you get from the Asian oriented countries, you get a lot of that aesthetic. So that is what I prefer to find, and Weibo is just ripe with that kind of content. Alright, this guy came out okay. It's not horrible by any means. Not exactly what we were looking for, but not horrible. And you know what? That is okay in my book. It's the process of learning. Everything's not going to look perfect. So, Riaz. Yeah, the story is really important. I do think of the story. I can show you, let's see, the 2 Concept Quest episodes that I've done. Not everything is perfect. I'm not a perfect character designer, but I know the theory behind it really well. So I'm able to help people a lot, but I personally, hang on one sec. I personally am still learning to be a good designer. I did this sketch for the Pokemon Concept Quest thing that I did, but I knew story-wise that I wanted this to be like an old guy. This was like, I wanted him to be muscular because he had sort of been with these fire Pokemon that were rough, and he had to train them by, you know, actually getting physical with them. And so the fire Pokemon informed the colors, the musculature, and his age, and the scar on the eye. You know, that all got informed by that background, that story of being rough with his Pokemon, like having to train them physically with his own body. And then the clouds was just an element from a design element that I pulled from the new design for Growlithe. And so I put it on his scarf. I made his beard look like clouds, his hair do the same thing, give him kind of that poofy hair look, because it was on the thing, on the Pokemon. And then what was the other one I did? This one, this girl was supposed to be, it would take a little bit longer to explain. You could go watch that episode, but these 2 were kind of very nerdy, and I wanted someone that was more sporty, like athletic and fashion oriented. So she had a very cool design, but it had a sporty look to it, and, you know, diversify the types of character, because these were both white kids, so I wanted someone who was a person of color, and just had a different style of hair and makeup. So the story informs sometimes the shape design or the characters that you're going to create. So story is definitely a big part. So that's smart of you to use story, and start thinking about that as early as possible. Did I answer your question, Tiffany, about the reference? Yeah, no, it's no problem. I love this stuff. It's fun. Oh, alright. Hair's not perfect, but he looks alright. Alright, let's move on to the next one. Yeah, Tiffany, also Twitter. For some, I find a lot of the people who are on Weibo, and not just there, but a lot of with this kind of aesthetic, like this artist I'm about to draw from is on Twitter. A lot of people who have the anime aesthetic are on Twitter, and so much good reference that I love. So I'm gonna try to draw this head that's looking up. It looks hard, but we'll see. Where do you get your reference from, Tiffany? Aside from, I think you said Pinterest. You end up getting sidetracked. Oh my god. Pinterest gets me so sidetracked. And you end up going down a rabbit hole of just cool images. So it can be extremely hard to stay focused. But I think that's true. Even when I use Weibo, I get stuck doing that too. So I try to limit my time knowing that is inevitably going to happen. Okay, that doesn't look right. That's too wide. It's not a super, it's more than what I have. Sometimes you realize your angles are not correct. Yeah, but keep going with that character design, Riaz. Because the more that you become sensitive to design as a beginner, the easier it's going to be as you improve your skills. The hardest part, which I'm learning now, is like I can draw pretty well, but I can't design as well because I drew a lot from studies and stuff, and I sort of trapped myself into having to start again for character design because I hadn't practiced it. So you'll have this huge disconnect where you're actually getting better and you're drawing like decent heads and everything, and your figures are good, your clothes are coming out good, but then you don't know how to design. So when you actually try to make something good looking, it sucks. So you suck at design, but you're better at drawing, and there's a huge disconnect. You're like, why am I not good at both? It's because they're two different skills. So you want to level them up at the same time so you don't have to deal with that. Okay, this is going to be different in the future. And that was, if there's some advice I would want my future self to know, if I could go back in time, that is definitely something that I would have told myself. Like, practice the things. Don't think that you have to master clothes or the face or whatever to make designs of your own. Just start doing it, even if you're terrible at the face or whatever you think you're bad at. Okay. Twitter too, for the most part. Pinterest, I try to create boards, but it really is just too much at times. I think my problem is just that I end up getting so sidetracked that in the end, I don't draw. Yeah, that is a problem. I just started making a Pinterest too, and it definitely feels overwhelming at first. I think, there's this urgency to sort of have this finished board of stuff that you can pull from, when really you just have to think about starting small and working in a small way so that you don't do exactly that, which is overwhelm yourself. Oh, this is turning out okay so far. This is scary. Oh my god. These head poses are hard. Okay, so take a look at that, like that. Oh my god, it's working! I shouldn't say that before I finish. Could all go wrong at the last minute. Yeah, so I'm moving very slowly on Pinterest. Like, I wanted to inform people, about this healthy, happy, creative process, and part of that I think is eating healthy. And I was like, oh my gosh, I have to have this whole board filled with healthy eating, how to do that correctly. And then I was just like, okay, you know what? Start slow. You don't have to do all that. Oops. So I just made this like vegan recipes board and added 4 things, and that was to help me literally with my groceries. And it hopefully helps other people too. So, you don't have to do so much at once. Just do a little bit at a time. It will build up over time. I think when we see other people's stuff, it's almost like it's like when we see stories about people who get super rich, like so and so made $10 million from his venture. Like, we see the event of him making or her making $10 million, but we don't see all the build up to that. So you have to give yourself time to do that build up. Because they did. It didn't happen all at once. Oh, goodness. Okay. What are some of your favorite comic, manga, or manhwa, if you have read any, or some of the anime you like and often reference to? Oh my goodness. Well, my favorite manga is Bakuman. Takeshi Obata is my favorite artist. I actually met him in Japan when I went for his gallery, because I was like, this guy's my favorite artist. He's like 50 or something. He's never gonna have a gallery again, because this is the only one he's ever had, and he's 50, so it's highly doubtful. So I had never been to Japan before, so I went just before the pandemic actually, and it was the coolest thing. My mom wanted to go to Japan too, so she came with me, and he came in like through the back. I was going through the gallery for the second time, and he came in through the back, and no one was there to open the door for him. My mom texted me. She's like, I think I just met Takeshi Obata. I opened the door for him, like, to get in. And I was so confused. So I left the gallery immediately and I found my mom. And she was like, yeah, you just went into this back room there. I opened the door for him to get into the gallery. And I was so skeptical. But she was right. He came out of there. I waited for like 5 minutes and he came out because he was going to do some live drawing there. And I shook his hand. And at the time I felt a little bad because I had a Bakuman phone case, but I got it off of like Redbubble. You know, it's not like they have merch for that. What am I supposed to do? Like, I wanted to support Bakuman, so. But he was all smiles. He couldn't speak a word of English, and I can't speak Japanese, you know, beyond arigato. So I just said thank you in Japanese and did a little like head bow and showed him my phone, and he chuckled and he smiled and shook my hand. And it was just a really cool experience. I do not know how to do this hair. My God. Yeah, it was a cool experience. Bakuman was one of my favorites. I love Hikaru no Go. Actually, one of my pieces of reference today was these are like the Japanese volume covers, but they're so gorgeous. I was gonna draw from one of them. This is just one of the, like, I don't know, 12 volumes or something. But yeah, that's my favorite. Favorite manhwa is probably Solo Leveling. That, and now it's getting an anime, so very excited about that. I don't know how to do this hair, so I'm just gonna finish this up because the hair is cut off for me. I've learned what I can from this. Definitely made his chin, mouth too long. Wasn't it? But it's not bad. It's kind of bad, but it's not that terrible. You gotta challenge yourself. So, you know, I could have, you know, done any one of these a whole lot easier. I wanted to challenge myself with the more difficult one. So we'll close that. I know. Hair is, especially with, like, I have trouble with Ichigo's hair too. I've drawn him successfully, but also drawn him really poorly as well. But you know, you still have to follow the principles of design even with spiky hair, right? So there's the idea with design with big, medium, small, and you want to follow that with even spiky hair. So big, medium, and small can mean big hair shapes versus medium versus small. It can also mean the spacing between it, so you could have a big thing with a tiny thing next to it, and then a medium shape, and the spacing here is large, the spacing here is tiny, you know, and the spacing here is medium, right? So you're thinking about that stuff. Like this looks, get rid of the arrows. This, God, there we go. This looks more visually pleasing than this, right? Because the spacing looks nice. So even with Ichigo, like, not that the author did it perfectly every time, but even with Ichigo, his hair was designed. So he was thinking about spacing, he was thinking about big, medium, small, all that stuff, so that the spikes don't just look uniform and boring. I've actually drawn this face before, so hopefully we can do this successfully. Okay, try to make this a bit bigger. Yeah, it's hard, even with the spiky hair is probably the hardest part. I prefer hair that's like this, even if the waviness is really confusing where it lands. But yeah, because the Ichigo hair it's hard. It's not easy. Yeah, it's solo leveling. Let's see what else. I love One Piece. I am Magenius, MH. I don't know how to pronounce her name. Magenius. Are you supposed to be a mad genius? Is that a pun? You tell me. Yeah, I still have like 20 minutes left. I'm good, thank you. How are you? I'm just testing it, but I am going to be live streaming consistently now. Today is mostly to make sure that the audio works, because last time it did not work. Magnus. Oh, okay. I will call you Magnus. Okay, let's see if that works. Damn it. Went too far. So again, I'm running into this problem now where it has to be given some more realistic ideas, because I'm not trying to go full anime, and he has placed the nose below the like where the nose comes out here, below the eye, and that is not realistic. So I gotta somehow change that. I'm sure it would still look right if I left it like this. Shouldn't worry about it too much. Thanks, Riaz. I appreciate that. I have worked very hard to develop a style. It's not easy, I think, developing a style that is very specific. I'm very weirdly anal about the style. Like I said, oops, wrong thing. I want it to look sort of like how it's here. But not exactly this. So, and even painting, it's like trying to figure out that style too is difficult. So it's not exactly anime. It has some realism touches to it, and I like things that are sharp shapes, and trying to do that versus like your rounder Disney shapes. So hard. Like, it takes effort to create a new style. Especially when you're using something to study, like you're translating this into what you desire, and sometimes it's successful, sometimes you're not. Takeshi Obata again is one of my like design, like the aesthetic is something that I very much try to push and look like, except again with a more realistic look. So it's easier to translate his designs versus somebody else's. Like, I'm not gonna get this exactly right, but it's okay. Oh, sometimes just the smallest line. There we go. Just starting to draw my next project. It's gonna take a while, but I got this. Yeah, you do. Take it a little step at a time, Agnes. You got it. No, that looks wrong. And the hair again. There we go. Anime hair is weird too, because sometimes they make the heads really big. Oh my god, I can't get this. You know, it like is far above the what the head shape actually is, so you gotta be careful of that too. Seen your TikTok videos really helped me with the art, related stuff. Yeah, thank you. I'm hoping it'll help. It helps me for the most part. I'm trying to give people like an evidence-based way to learn to draw better, because I think a lot of us struggle with the same things. Alright, this is not perfect, but again, we're getting there. In the nose a little bit more. Okay. This one, not so bad. I think I gave him a very prominent chin. Maybe we can soften it out a little bit. Question well is help. I'm not sure what you mean by that. but I am trying to help however I can. With like top view faces that is looking up. Sorry, I'm not sure what you're asking. I understand about the top view faces. If you're talking about this drawing over here. I'm just not sure what you're asking me. Okay. The wording is not the greatest. I'm going to send it on Discord. Okay. Sure. No problem. I can answer you on Discord. Okay. Yeah, this one feels all right. What is your approach when drawing the nose? The nose is a little complicated when, especially I feel like for the anime look. You know, it's hard to say that there's an approach because you can always approach it from a lot of different angles, right? We have a lot of we have a front-facing view, like push just past three-quarter view, this looking up face. Typically, I try to treat it as a triangle at first. Like for this nose, is like there's an angle at the point of the triangle, right? So when there's like a turned away slightly nose, there's always this little point because I like to keep all my features sharp. And then there's the nostril, right? You don't need that extra, but like that's a nose right there. Draw lips after that. That's a turned away nose. When I have something that's right ahead of me, I just try to go like this. Sometimes I'll add the little thing there, but a lot of times I will literally just draw it a kind of a triangle. The hardest is honestly this here, which is the looking up, because usually it's like all you have is these two little holes like that, and then again another triangle. So that one is the hardest one for sure, without making your character look like a pig or something like this. So it's like a pig nose or something. So I honestly still struggle with that sometimes too. It's just about getting those shapes correct. Again, still when you're coming at it simply, just treat it as a triangle. And then later you can come back and try to figure this stuff out. But again, just keep it simple. looking up, looking sideways, looking forward. Another thing that I would do sometimes a lot is I will treat this as like a shape. And yeah, I've seen other artists do it before, where it's like this front shape. There, if you actually study it, there's like a separation of muscle here, or not muscle, it's like tissue. But that when you think of things in terms of shapes, it makes it easier for you to come back and like twist them in space, like as you start to think of them from shape to form. So yeah, there's this shape here. It's like little wings. So you have this, and that is your nose shape. Oh my gosh, the Stranger Things song. Oh, that's such a good song. Yeah, so keeping things super simple, just stick to like, you can literally just do triangles. Like that's the 3/4, that's this one's looking up. And then if you want to add some complexity, start to give the point of your triangles an edge. So that's the going away. This is now has like a bottom to it, and this now has a little like edge to it as well. And then you start thinking of where the nostrils actually are, and the forms that are showing up, which is when you start adding this like little shape. And instead of, you know, this shape, you would add, like, especially if you're painting, you would add like a shadow there, or it would keep going up like that and that. So start super simple. As you understand more, like start allowing yourself to challenge yourself to add more complexity to it. But start simple, and then keep doing it. Hi, Jimmy. Oh, you were the one that asked that question. So I hope that answers your question, Jimmy. I think the worst thing you can do is you start to complicate the process too much, and you're like, how do I do this? What do I do? And you try to go too many different shapes, and it just confuses the hell out of you. So keep things simple, and then add complexity as you feel like you're getting a little bit comfortable. It's a gem of a song. Kind of bummed out that I didn't find out the song early. Yeah, I know, right? I feel like a lot of people discovered that song, including myself, from Stranger Things. I did not know about it, and it was very catchy. You're welcome. Magnus. I gotta remember that. Magnus. Alright. I guess I was gonna end here, but I'll go over a little because I had 2 more photos that I was gonna do. So what I like to do with studying is that I will study from artists first, because they've made simplifications from their own reference to their drawings. So you're sort of getting this hacked version of like drawing from life or drawing from a photo, because you see how they simplified those faces or shapes or forms, whatever you're drawing. So when you go back to life, you can think about that stuff. How did I simplify that before? And you can use that knowledge now for yourself. And I also, for me, like if you have a totally different style of working, like obviously the anime style, some people have very anime looking faces, so it makes it easy, but obviously that's not true for everyone. So I have to definitely design the face to have that aesthetic, and depending on your aesthetic, it may be very, very different. So you have to figure that out kind of for yourself. So Jimmy, like you asked about, if you're still here, you asked about noses before. Like I'm adding a little bit of complexity, but for the most part, I'm just gonna add this simple triangle shape so that I can figure out the face first. Then I will add complexity when I know that that placement is right. Oh yeah, I've been that just simply with shapes than doing with what I learned from the poses. That's a good way to do it. I don't know if other people are the opposite, but I always try to start my heads a little bit bigger because inevitably I always like overestimate things, so I have to I make everything smaller. I always gotta make sure I start with a bigger shape. So yeah, I'm not gonna follow his eyes necessarily because I want that anime aesthetic. So it's not, normal eyes, they usually round down like this, and anime eyes stay high. It's just got that sharpness. Looks so cool. Love the aesthetic. Many people said that Mike, grown up from Stranger Things, looks like an anime character. Mike from Stranger Things. I don't have any reference of him. Let's see. I've never looked at him like that. No, not really. I have a second monitor, so I'm looking at his picture. Honestly, he might look like a villain if you were to draw him as an anime character. He's got kind of crazy big hair and really sharpness. Maybe his nose has an anime quality to it because he's got the sharpness, but I don't see anything else that would make me think, like, oh, he looks like an anime character. Okay, I think we got that. Honestly, scariest part sometimes just making sure that the eyes are like at the right level and working okay. Pupils can be important too, because if you get them wrong, you can really screw up the. They look kind of like they're crazy or something. You make sure you get that right too. So he has a very rounded chin. I'm not gonna do that. See how I always inevitably end up shaving off more of the face. Always happens, always. But I do know the nose now, so we're gonna make that finish up. This feels pretty good. Stranger Things gives sort of an unfamiliar, nostalgic vibe. Sure as flaws, the show is really enjoyable. Oh, you're asking if Stranger Things was good? Yeah. I think last season wasn't very interesting, personally, because I think they were trying to build it up for this season and the next. The next one's the last one, they said, but I really like it. I think it's cool. The kids in that show, like usually when you watch shows, kids are they make the kids so dumb, and kids are really smart. You know, well, some kids, not all kids. Kids can be really smart, and they asked all the like smart questions, so they didn't piss you off, you know, as they were discovering stuff in the show. Like, and they asked the questions that if you were a curious kid, you would ask kind of thing. So, that's what really made it for me. It was they made the kids like they felt like real. Kids that were curious and not dumb. That was the thing I liked about it. Okay, gotta work with this hair. Why is short hair deceptively harder than longer hair? Oh my god. Look at this spiky mess up here that I tried to do. I think because with long hair it's really easy, right? Or it's a lot easier because you get to do all this flowy stuff, and you can make sure that you have, you know, nice big shapes and small shapes and make it aesthetically pleasing, so it feels a little bit easier. Whereas with tiny hair, you gotta deal with like 1,000 spikes next to each other, and you have to make it so that it's visually pleasing. So you can't just go because that looks stupid. You have to vary the size, the spacing, the shape, the angle. Yeah, exactly. Long hair is quick. You can do it quick and make it nice, whereas short hair is a pain in the butt. It takes effort, especially if you don't have those design sensibilities yet. Like it is truly a pain in the butt. When you're better at design and you know this stuff, I'm sure it's fast. Like I'm sure you're just like, oh, it's gonna be small here, big here, and you're just like whipping it out like crazy. But until that point, till we're masters of hair, it is hard as hell. So you gotta struggle through the terrible part to get to the good stuff. The more you learn how to make it simple, just the easier time you're gonna have. Oh God. It's okay. Oh God, I hate those. Okay. Let's try this again. Do the eyebrows first. Pupil design is a pain in the butt. Has to be different from the photo, but not so different that it looks wonky. Ugh. Hi, Gold Note. Yeah, learning, that's why I screwed up here, air. Learning how to like place short hair on the head where it feels like it matches the head too is hard. I feel that that's more difficult with long hair, honestly. Like I had trouble with this one. Okay, maybe we'll just turn the eye this way. Does this help? Nope, I hate it still. Okay, one more time. Let's try this. Ah, oh, damn. I'm gonna take a break playing some Yu-Gi-Oh! Nice. Yu-Gi-Oh! Was fun. Well, I tried. There were some things. I would say the hair is very successful here. But, you know. Doesn't always work out the way that you want. Tried. whole point is to get better and to learn. And this was good. The hair actually came out good, so I was happy with that. Not bad. Not great either. Oh well. We have one more. Let's do it. I actually have more trouble with female faces just because they never look female. They always end up taking a very male look. It's hard, especially, and of course I had to choose someone with like a very pronounced jaw, because those women like that too. It's harder to keep that feminine look. My teacher once told me that he was the best figure drawing teacher I've had, and he told me that there's less forgiveness with female faces because slight changes can make it look on the face can make it look really bad, like the nose looking very like petite kind of thing. And I do understand that now, that it is hard to do a female face. There are certain things I've learned after studying the anatomy, like how they generally, there's certain things like their brow, you know, there's certain things obviously that are obvious, like the brow is less pronounced, you know, guys have more of like a chunky brow. They have bigger eyes, they have bigger eye sockets, so generally they have bigger eyes. The angle of their jaw tapers in more, which makes the angle going down to their chin change. But it's not all perfect. Like I said, this woman has more of a male structure, or the typical male structure, I guess I should say, because she has very pronounced cheekbones and jaw. But you still have to make that work in a feminine way, right? Which we will try to do. Kyo's Studios videos may help. Plastic surgeons, see how many compact it makes a face attractive. Oh, interesting. Never considered that before. It might be a good idea. Yeah, we do have specific things that we look at as that determine attractiveness. Alright, I've been trying to avoid using the lasso tool, but I need to move this up and I don't want to redraw it right now. So, okay. Forgive me. Not that the lasso tool is bad. I'm just in a process of learning. I didn't want to use it. Is that too high? That's too high. Okay. everything around this. Okay. A wide chin. Very strong jaw. Might be... Might be that her nose is still a little too long. Forgive me once more. Oh. You could endlessly tweak the heck out of, you know, your art. God, I'm very proud of myself for getting that angle, those angles right. Look at that. It's looking female. We're successful. As an artist, their analysis put in the factors in perspective. They also... Oh, that's really cool. I will definitely check that out in that case. That's interesting. I'd never heard that before. This feels more successful already. I'm still wanting to tweak this though. The subtle, like, the spacing differences between things is extremely subtle but super important. It makes a huge difference. And you'll get better at subtleties just as you know, you progress as an artist. I am still, you know, not perfect. Not that you need to be. Out farther. Which I'm gonna end up erasing because her hair is over here. Do that one first. And then it might help us help inform us. There we go. Oh my God, I'm so freaking proud right now. So freaking proud of myself. It came out good. Guys, look at that. Clip Studio, yeah, if you can't see it, it's down here. I am trying to learn Clip Studio. It's in my icon tray down at the bottom. It's the one next to Google Chrome. I am trying to learn Clip Studio. I'm having a little trouble learning it because the sensitivity is a little bit different, and I'm not comfortable with it yet. It's a little frustrating, but I do want to sort of master Clip Studio and hopefully eventually move over to Clip Studio permanently, because there are some things that I have seen and heard. Like, I tried using the blending tool and it is so different from Photoshop. It was so much better, so much easier. I only had a few moments with it where I was just playing around with it, but it was incredible. I'm like shocked that I have not I had not given it a chance yet. I feel like this looks wonky. So yeah, I have tried Clip Studio, and I do want to make it my workflow, or part of my workflow, and sort of leave Photoshop behind, especially with what I feel is very predatory practices from Adobe with the whole like pricing and everything. They basically have because companies use it, it feels very monopoly-esque, and it's expensive, it's not cool, and they bundle it in a way where they know you're not going to get the things that you need, so you have to go for the full suite. Like, they could give us options, but they don't, which means they know that they have a freaking stranglehold on the market for design software. It's just, I don't like it. I want to be free from Adobe. Illustration is so quick and easy there. It handles large files so smoothly, and I love that software. Yeah, there's a lot of things that I don't know about it, but I believe you. I can't wait to make it more a part of my workflow. It's just finding the time to learn it, because I'm already so comfortable in Photoshop that it's like, it's hard to practice. Like, I want to practice in there more. And I will. Just gotta give it time. Oh my god. I am very happy with this. This was unexpectedly good. Freckle right there. Let's do it. Okay. All the drawings today were wins. Thank you. Oh, it's good to end on a happy note. I don't know if I'd agree with you that all the drawings today are wins. I like this one, this one, this one. I did learn some stuff from the other two, and there were definitely things that were successful, like the nose is pretty successful here, and the outside shape. the hair was successful here and the shape of the face, but you know, you don't win everywhere. Oh, I'm very happy about that last one though. It came out good. Alright guys, well, thank you for joining me, Riaz, and looks like there's one other person left here, but thank you guys. I'm going to be doing this a lot more, so come join me, and I'll do this through TikTok as well. Probably do some private stuff with Discord, but the Discord's free to join, so anybody can really join that. Good luck with all your drawings today. Good luck with your character designs, Riaz. And I will talk to y'all later. Bye-bye. Thank you. Today was good.